mighty Indianapolis Motor Speedway, venue for round 16 of the World Championship. An emotional weekend for all of us. It's Murray Walker's farewell commentary after more than 52 years in the hot seat. Hello there, welcome to our review of the American Grand Prix. The F1 circus comes to a country still very much in mourning. But Formula One keen to put on a show, and we had a great session in qualifying. Racing with the stars and stripes on his car and helmet, Michael Schumacher blisteringly quick, both on Indy's infield and the long straight. He's joined mid-session at the front by brother Ralph. Neither would stay there long. McLaren's Mika Häkkinen shows he's neither shy nor retiring, with a stunning lap in the 111s. But 7 minutes later, the world champion hits back, 2/10 quicker, and that's good enough for pole. The opposition try again in the closing stages, but in vain. And Michael Schumacher even has time to sit back and take a bit of refreshment. So, pole number 10 for Schumacher this season, Häkkinen second, Ralf Schumacher ending up third ahead of teammate Montoya and Barrichello in the second Ferrari. Heidfeld, impressive in sixth, beating Coulthard and the Jordans of Trulli and de Lacy. Button putting in his best qualifying performance of the season to fill out the top 10. Of the rest, Irvine 14th and Villeneuve a very disappointed 18th. After going through a red light in the pit lane in morning warm-up, Häkkinen was demoted to 4th place. Enjoy the American Grand Prix then, in the company of Martin Brundle and, for the last time, Murray Walker.
Michael Schumacher on the right, Ralf Schumacher on the left. Behind Michael Schumacher is Montoya. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Go, go, go! And they've all got away well. No, there's one left right at the back. Is it Young or is it Thomas Enger? But meantime, Schumacher leads. Michael Schumacher, that is. And the Williams right up alongside him is that of Montoya. Montoya has come through from 3rd on the grid. He's got ahead of Ralf Schumacher. And Ralf Schumacher is 4th. Barrichello has made a superlative start. He's up from 5th on the grid into 3rd place. Ferrari leads, Williams 2nd, Ferrari 3rd. Ralf Schumacher is in 4th position. Then it's the 2 McLarens. Alex Young brings up the rear.
Yes, Thomas Enger failed to get away, but he is now into the race. So all 22 cars away, albeit one of them somewhat delayed. Michael Schumacher then leads Montoya, Barrichello, Ralf Schumacher, Häkkinen, Coulthard. The 2 McLarens line astern for 5th and 6th.
Into the left-hander at turn 10. Now this is where they start to attack the banked part of the circuit after turn 11. 80 miles an hour out of this, and now the speed builds. 155 miles an hour, 190 miles an hour, 205 miles an hour. And Michael Schumacher leads, Ralph leads, Barrichello leads Ralf Schumacher 4th and Montoya in 2nd place.
And not a great start for the Benettons. They're 10th and 11th. Fisichella. Button slipped a little bit, and Jolin Lacey was the man who had the worst start. And we've got a touch there.
Yeah, and a wing broken, and that is Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen's front wing has been broken as he was sandwiched between Nick Heidfeld, his teammate, and Jolin Lacey driving in his 200th Grand Prix.
I think it was Trulli. I think they were getting caught up. Trulli had a decent start. Look, a Lacey very slow away of the 2 yellow cars. A clear run for Michael, but Montoya then in the BMW. Williams managing to get right alongside. Michael having none of it. Takes the line, pushes him wide, and a bit of squabbling in the midfield, but no major drama at that time. But at the end of the first lap, we will see that Trulli was getting involved in a fight. But this is the picture from Montoya, just over his left shoulder, of course. And look, picked up a beautiful slipstream from the Ferrari, but nowhere to go when he arrived. And you've got to be on the inside there. Michael giving him no slack whatsoever.
No, but he was clean. Michael Schumacher's been criticised for cutting across other drivers at the start of the race. That was fair enough. And look at the lead he's building now. He's on his 2nd lap. It was 1/10 of a second.
Barrichello perfectly placed. Can he use this slipstream? Montoya goes to cover the inside line. Barrichello braking later and managing to make it stick. Easy for Barrichello then.
Right, now let's, right at the beginning of the race, remember that Ferrari have actually got a disadvantage, they thought, some people, at the start here. They're on the harder compound Bridgestone tyre. It may not grip the circuit so well, but it won't degrade, it'll last better.
Kimi Räikkönen then, we saw he touched with Jarno Trulli, and he is stopped for a new nose, and he will join in last place.
And already we're on lap 3. Ferrari leads, Ferrari second. Schumacher leads, Rubens Barrichello is second. Down to third goes Montoya. Right behind him is Ralf Schumacher. Mika Häkkinen, who started 4th, is down to 5th. David Coulthard, who started 7th, is up to 6th. In 7th is Heidfeld, who started 6th. And Jarno Trulli is in 8th position in the Jordan. And you can see the battle now between the two Williams BMWs, Montoya and Schumacher, with Mika Häkkinen and Coulthard behind them.
Out of our view, but Jenson Button has passed Fisichella, with Räikkönen pitting, Button up to 9, Eddie Irvine 11.
And just look at this for sheer raw speed. It is terrific. 820, 30 horsepower blasting through those rear wheels. They have to come down to 75 miles an hour. Third gear corner for turn 1. And it is line abreast now. 4.7 seconds covers the top 6.
Barrichello 4/10 faster than Michael Schumacher on the previous lap. There it is, a new fastest lap of the race, but that's not a lap record at this stage. A car on the outside travelling slowly. We didn't see who it was, and it is a Sauber. Presumably that's Räikkönen, who's back onto the track. We saw his car smoking a little bit as he left the pits. Thought it was tyre smoke, but maybe then Räikkönen got out some other. Yes, he has, look. Räikkönen with some technical problems, we don't know what. Of course, creeping back to the pits.
And here's a flash of intelligence. We believe that the Ferraris have got a two-stop strategy. We believe, we could be wrong, but it makes sense. Look at the way that Rubens Barrichello has come up, presumably with a lighter fuel load. And if that is the case, they've got to build a lead now over the two Williams BMWs of Juan Pablo Montoya, who is 3rd, and Ralf Schumacher, who's in 4th position.
Montoya had a very slow lap, a 1:17.6, nearly 2 seconds off the pace last time around, and that's why he's suddenly under pressure from Ralf. Häkkinen in close company. Yellow flag, stationary yellow flag I can see in the background, and we think it's an oil flag, so some debris or something slippery on the racetrack. Montoya is struggling.
Yeah, Ralf Schumacher is pushing. He's in 4th position, and Mika Häkkinen is just behind them. There's the McLaren, and behind the McLaren it's David Coulthard. So is Montoya holding things up? You can see they're piling up behind him. In the meantime, the gap between the two flying Ferraris at the front and the Williams is increasing. It is now 3.6 seconds between Michael Schumacher and Montoya.
And Michael's going to let Barrichello pass. Barrichello has a car that's 0.4 of a second faster. So Michael clearly, easily lets him through. Michael will remember leading this race last year and spinning off in these very slow corners through lack of concentration. Still went on to win, of course, but Barrichello then with easily the fastest car on the racetrack, suggesting less fuel, of course.
Yeah, that could be one of two things. It could be either that Rubens Barrichello is on a two-stop strategy and Michael isn't, or it could mean that Michael, even this early in the race, is deferring to the Brazilian to let him through and hopefully, from their point of view, win this race, get 10 World Championship points, put himself ahead of David Coulthard, who is only on 1 World Championship point at the moment. Lap 6, 73-lap race.
And I think they're going to have to move Montoya out of the way soon as well. He is definitely holding up Ralf. It's enabling the McLarens to stay in touch, but Montoya well down in the 1:17s. Barrichello full second faster than anybody else, including passing Michael Schumacher up the inside into turn 8. Obviously he was let through, but then Barrichello scampering off into the distance. It's about 2.5 of a second per lap for every 10 kilos of fuel you carry around here, so it would suggest Barrichello two-stopping.
Well, Nick Heidfeld is undoubtedly the man to watch at the moment. He's in 7th position, and there he is behind David Coulthard's McLaren. He is in the points. Both the McLarens are in the points. Both the Ferraris are, of course, on a potential 16 World Championship points for 1st and 2nd place. Both the Williams are in the points at 3rd and 4th. So it is dominated, as you would expect. Ferrari, Williams, McLaren, and Heidfeld there with the red wing mirrors on the Sauber, followed now by Jenson Button, and there he is in 8th position. Jenson started 10th in the Benetton. He has worked his way up 2 places. He's 2 places ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella, his teammate.
Yes, out of picture again. Button then has put a move on Trulli somewhere, so Jenson Button coming through the field very nicely. Isn't it great to see him back on form? This last 2 or 3 Grand Prix, he's really been looking like the Jenson Button we saw last year. Tripped over, of course, truly ironically, in the first corner at Monza with a bit of an over-ambitious move. But Button then heading for a decent Grand Prix at last. That's Lacey challenging both the Benettons. 11th place man Lacey. Fisichella on the end of his nose, picks up that extra surge, and later on the brakes, a really clean move. Well, he's done 200 of these. He should be good at that by now, Murray.
Yeah, and he's 37 years old, but there's news from James.
Yes, looking at the timing of these stops then, gentlemen. The one stop as we're looking about lap 40, I believe. But Rubens Barrichello on his 2 stop, he's going to come in on lap 28, which is in just 16 laps from now, and then he's going to have to come in again about lap 51. That's the target. And one other note for you, Jos Verstappen, the king of the Grand Prix starts, he has made up 7 places off the start line this race, and that means that in the 16 Grand Prix so far, it's a total of 80 places. 80 places he's made up so far, an amazing statistic.
So there is Jenson Button in the Benetton, followed by Fisichella. Now we're with Lacey, and Lacey has got Fisichella in front of him. So underneath the banner, into the right-hander, a terrific battle now between the 2 Benettons with their new Renault 111-degree V10 engine, and John Lacey in the Honda-powered Jordan, and Lacey's flying. He's not close enough yet.
Button's,
prediction?
But well, he's got to get a little bit closer than that, but Button's really struggling with the handling. He's dropped off the pace, and Lacey, look at that. You can just feel it's like moving up another gear, and he will now easily outbrake Button. I think they're losing a lot of grip from the Michelins on the Benetton at the moment, obviously working them too hard, and that was easy. I think Lacey then just pulling a rip-off off the visor, probably got a lot of oil on his visor, which may also give us an indication of why Button has started to slow down. Maybe he's got the beginnings of an engine gremlin.
Now we're with Montoya as he comes into the start and finish straight at some 200 miles an hour. And he's speeding up, is Montoya. He is gaining on Michael Schumacher. It's only 2.2 seconds now between the 3rd car that you're riding with and the 2nd car, which is that Scarlet Ferrari now, just going round turn 4 into turn 5. And that is Rubens Barrichello leading the race. So now look back, it's a 10-second gap. You're not going to, if they stay with him, and they are staying with him, with the heat haze pouring out of the back of the car, because the exhaust pipes, 5 cylinders on each side, exit through the top of the bodywork, just in front of the rear wing. And that is to enable as much clean air to get at the rear wing as possible, to help the aerodynamics, to force the tyres down onto the ground. More rubber on the track means more grip. More grip means more power transmitted. More power transmitted means more speed. Barrichello has won 1 Grand Prix in his career, the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim last year. He desperately wants to win another. He's going the right way about it now, but he's still only 12 seconds ahead of Montoya. He needs a lot more lead to retain it when he comes in.
Yes, he deserved to win in Monza, in my view. Obviously, a fuel rig problem there cost him the Italian Grand Prix just 2 weekends ago. But I think he's just been given the hurry-up to make his strategy work. Barrichello is not far enough ahead, as you rightly say. You're getting good at this commentary game, Murray. And Barrichello really has got to get on it some more, because suddenly the 2 Williams are coming into the zone. They've driven a very sensible, very mature early stages of the Grand Prix. They've had lower tyres on them, more used tyres to stop the blistering. They don't care about the total wear rate, they want to stop the blistering. So Barrichello leads by 10.9 seconds now from Michael Schumacher. Juan Pablo Montoya is 3rd, Ralf Schumacher 4th, Hakkinen 5th, and Coulthard 6th.
Second, Schumacher, Michael. 3rd, Montoya, Williams. 4th, Ralf Schumacher in the yellow-topped helmet in the Williams BMW. And the Williams team are getting ready. They're getting up now. They're going to come out. This is at lap 24. It looks as though they're getting ready to bring one of the Williams in for a tyre stop and refuel. As you look at Alex Young in the background, pursued by Thomas Enger, and being caught to be lapped on lap 24 by Rubens Barrichello.
Well, I tell you, if Williams are coming in for a stop, there'll be an enormous sigh of relief from the Ferrari team, because Williams were definitely putting an attack into place, but it seems as if they are also light on fuel. So the Williams has not had the ultimate pace that we thought they were having, and they're one of them, and therefore I'm sure both of them will be making a two-stopper now, and the Ferrari pit wall will be mighty happy about that. We think it's Ralf Schumacher, the second of the two Williams, coming in this time, makes a late lunge for the pit lane. There's the speed limit line already, so it's a long, long way, and that's why a pit stop here takes so much time, and it really does compromise you on a two-stopper. James Allen will take it.
I tell you, Martin, if this is a scheduled stop, they're nowhere, absolutely nowhere. He should have been much, much faster in the first stint. Really worn Michelin tyres coming off. They're really very worried about the heat building up in the casing of the rear tyres. That's the problem here today, and that's the problem with the left rear tyre. Now it's on the car. Ralf rejoins, but I don't think Williams are in it today, Martin.
No, and they, as you said, left rear, they had to change the gun. The man on the left rear had to change guns for some reason, and a very slow pit stop for Ralf then.
He came in fourth, and he's going to go through, come out 10th. Because Montoya's gone through, so has Hakkinen and Coulthard. Heidfeld is now up into 6th. Trulli is up into 7th. Ralf Schumacher got out just about at the same time as Jean Alesi. I didn't see whether he was in front of or behind the Jordan. But anyway, we're now with Juan Pablo Montoya. Is he going to have to stop and come in, as has Ralf Schumacher? Montoya is third. That's Michael Schumacher ahead of him. The gap is only 0.8 of a second now, and he's carved it down from 2.2 seconds. Rubens Barrichello leading by 12.5 seconds. Montoya right behind Michael.
Well, of course, we've had Barrichello pegged as a two-stopper from the very early stages of this Grand Prix, and they're then into the pits. Such a high angle, it's difficult to see which one it was. It's Barrichello.
With this, it is Barrichello, but with this Michael's new helmet, it's terribly difficult. James.
Yes, well, bear in mind, guys, that Rubens has now to make one more stop than the others. In other words, he needs extra 30 seconds out of his race, which the others don't need to lose. So in both of the first two stints, he needed a 16-second lead at least. He's clearly going to lose the lead this time. It's the second stop. It's his exit from the second stop that's the critical part. And I don't really know if he'd done enough work in that first stint. Only 12.5 seconds lead. It's very, very marginal. Two stops here, not that much faster. Very bold by Rubens. Can he make it pay?
Go, Rubens. You're not going fast enough. Michael Schumacher now leads. There is Rubens Barrichello. Michael Schumacher leads. Montoya is up into second, but Hakkinen is up into third. Rubens Barrichello scrambled out of the pit lane just in front of David Coulthard. He was in fourth place, so he's lost 3 places. Jacques Villeneuve is still down in the dumps at 17th place ahead of De La Rosa. Alonso is 19th, Enger is 20th and has been lapped. Alex Young is 21st, Kimi Raikkonen has retired. 21 still running on lap 31 out of 73. And you look down on the 2 lead cars of Michael Schumacher in the Scarlet Ferrari, 4 times a world champion and would-be world champion Juan Pablo Montoya, who of course has won at Indianapolis in the past, but not in a Grand Prix. He won the fabled Indy 500 and was car champion of the year, of course. This brilliant Colombian, and look, he's gaining visibly on Michael Schumacher on the twisties there as he exits the double 90 at turn 10, accelerates up to turn 11. And this is where the BMW grunt should help, because although that Paolo Martinelli designed engine in the Ferrari has got a lot of power, the BMW has got even more. The gap on the previous lap was 0.7 of a second. They crossed the line to complete 31 laps, and it's 0.6 of a second. and Häkkinen is 11 seconds behind them. We ride with Montoya.
And that's what it feels like to be second place in a Grand Prix, on the edge of your seat then, and let's chase down Michael Schumacher to see if we can snatch the lead. And look, Montoya having a bundle of opposite lock to keep the car on the racetrack, collected it up nicely, and look how much time he lost just with that simple, necessary correction. Montoya, what a brilliant race he's driving this afternoon. Had much more fuel on board than his teammate Ralf Schumacher, and still making it work out there. So Michael Schumacher and Montoya really now putting on the show up the front. But the McLarens then, third and fourth now, about 10 to 14 seconds behind the pair of them. So they're staying just about. Look at this then. This is Montoya in turn 3, and really had to turn into that slide as you would on the road in your road car, even just turn in and keep the car pointing in the right direction, but you edge out under the dirty stuff.
I don't get too many slides like that in my road car, Martin.
You're a very sensible chap, Murray.
32 laps then. That means that there are 40 laps still to go. And with Montoya trying to make up for that slight loss of time on the previous lap. And they're carving their way through the field now. It is Fernando Alonso from Spain who is the next to be passed in the Minardi. He qualified as superb 17th here. The Minardi team has got great promise for next year because it's got the Asia Tech engine, and Paul Stoddart, the boss, was telling me that he's got hopefully a fairly healthy budget from all sorts of sources next year. Things looking good for this Italian team that has struggled so hard in the past. So there is Rubens Barrichello. Now the gap between Barrichello and Michael Schumacher, 5th and 1st, is 19.3 seconds, and Montoya is pushing again. The first sector, 23.1 seconds. Nobody has been through it. And look, there it is. We look down on the Montoya is visibly closing now on Michael Schumacher. And it gives you a chance to look at the crowd in the packed grandstand in the background, and particularly the ones they're coming to.
Well, he's just about in the zone for a tow, and you'll see Montoya just gradually moving towards the back of that Ferrari as they move towards the first corner. He had a lot of work to do, but look how much he's made up, and he takes the lead.
Fantastic! And the crowd roars! They love that! And that's his dad in the background with the beard. Boy, is this Grand Prix racing with a capital G and a capital P. Juan Pablo Montoya, who first led a Grand Prix in Brazil by putting a sensational move on Michael Schumacher, has done exactly the same thing here at Indianapolis. Hot dog, it's terrific, look at him go. And he's so calm when he's out of the car, he's so relaxed, but when he gets in it, he is a tiger. Now, let's wait and see Juan Pablo Montoya come in from the lead in the Williams to change tyres, take on fuel, and this is going to be a crucial stop.
So turn 11 then, he'll go up high into 12, and then he'll sweep down at the last possible moment into the pit lane. There it is, and look for the white speed line. There it is now. He's on the limiter, 120 kilometers per hour. Look how slow that feels compared to those cars going around on the banking, and we're hopefully going to go all the way in. No, we're not, to follow him right into the box. Will they have any problems with fitting the tyres? It all appears to be going well at the moment. The hands are up in the air. My wheel is fitted, that says, and he's just waiting for the fuel now. Watch the lollipop. It says put it in first gear. He's already in gear, and away he goes. So a reasonable stop. I wonder why it didn't look like 13 seconds, did it?
No, but Schumacher is back in the lead again. Schumacher Michael. Häkkinen is now up to second for the first time in this race. A 10-second gap between them. The second McLaren, David Coulthard, is up into third place as you look at Eddie Irvine's Jaguar being pursued by race leader Michael Schumacher to lap the Irishman. Rubens Barrichello is fourth, so it's Ferrari, McLaren, McLaren, Ferrari. Montoya came out in fifth place ahead of Jarno Trulli, and that's the point scorers. And Jordan Lacey in the second Jordan is seventh, so the two Jordans are sixth and seventh. So
And those clouds of black smoke are from the brakes. They're 28 millimeters thick when they start the race, and they will be significantly thinner. And you can't believe the amount of material that comes off them every time they hit the brakes. And remember, that's just one corner of the lap, albeit the hardest braking corner. You can't believe they survive the distance, but indeed they do, of course. So now Michael Schumacher, and that's Ralph off the racetrack.
Ralph Schumacher out of the race then. Rear wheel spinning. It looks as though he's beached it. The under tray is resting on the ground. He can't get any purchase. He's getting out of the car. Ralph Schumacher retires from the American Grand Prix. It's his 7th retirement of the year. No points for him. No points for BMW either, or for Williams, and he's very sensibly getting out of the danger zone as quickly as we can as he looks at this replay. Now, where that happened was the approach to turn 6, that's the double 90. I suppose it doesn't matter to Ralph where it happened. It happened. The Ferrari mechanics are out, and that is for Michael Schumacher, who now leads Mika Häkkinen by 8.3 seconds, because Mika is speeding up. He's closed the gap between himself and his traditional rival, Michael Schumacher. So definitely only one Williams. If that is going to finish the race, it's going to be Montoya if he keeps going. And we're watching now the Ferrari as he goes through to start another lap.
Yep, Michael didn't pit, so who is this for then? Can it be for Barrichello again already? So Michael then onto his 39th lap now. He has not stopped. Second, Häkkinen, 8.2 seconds adrift. He has not stopped, and nor has Coulthard, your current 3rd place man. So it was hide and seek at the beginning. Barrichello's gone through as well, so quite why the Ferrari mechanics are all in the pit lane. We'll have to wait and see. Michael obviously deciding he didn't want to go in that lap. Sometimes you can run out of fuel if you do that. You can go one too many laps, but for whatever reason then, neither Ferrari calling in when the team looked ready for them.
Well, it looks as though something very odd is happening between McLaren and Ferrari. Maybe James Allen knows the answer.
Yeah,
Montoya! Stop it! James, sorry! Montoya slowing! Montoya stopping! It looks as though both Williams BMWs are out of the race. Yes! This is lap 39. Schumacher out, Montoya out. Finito!
And remember, that's exactly where he stopped this morning when he blew up, Murray, and they had to put the red flags out. They had to stop the session as Michael Schumacher pits from the lead. So Schumacher in this time around, and Montoya stopped there this morning, and it's very difficult to recover a car from that position on the racetrack. It's the pit wall, there's no way through there, so I wonder how they'll handle the stricken car. Double waved yellows at the moment, of course. Then Häkkinen goes through. He is temporarily the leader, of course. Michael rejoining. Seemed a reasonably long stop again, didn't it? So not seeing good stops this afternoon. Häkkinen then leads the Grand Prix. Remember, the man who started this race very, very angry because they moved him back on the grid for a indiscretion this morning in the warm-up. They applied it to yesterday's qualifying position.
Lap 43, race order. Häkkinen, Coulthard. Montoya walks in. 3rd is Barrichello. 4th is Ralph Schumacher. And of course, both the Ferraris have stopped. Neither of the McLarens have stopped. Heidfeld is up to 5th. Irvine is up into 6th position in the Jaguar. 7th is Frenson, 8th is Trulli, 9th is Panis, 10th is Jean Lacey. Out come the McLaren mechanics carrying the tyres.
I wonder if it'll be for Coulthard, who's tucked up in traffic, or will it be first for Häkkinen? Häkkinen, as he was ahead on the grid under the McLaren arrangement, has the choice of when he wants to pit. So I would imagine he would go longer, and indeed he has. Häkkinen goes through. Coulthard then pits. It saves him taking that traffic. Now it's going to be crucial. Will they be anywhere near Michael Schumacher when they come out? Can Coulthard get out anywhere in front of Schumacher? Because that'll put Häkkinen in good shape too. It's going to be close.
It is indeed. And so here is David Coulthard sitting in the McLaren. Well, they kept the clock running a lot longer than they should have done. I think it was about 9.5 seconds. And there is the Ferrari. And here, coming down the pit lane towards us now, is the 2nd.
I think that's an Arrows, Murray. I think you'll find that's an Arrows that's passing down. It's orange rather than the Scarlet. So which of the Ferraris was it from that high shot? Because we know that Barrichello was 11 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher, and that's De La Rosa and Panis, and Villeneuve, who'd been threatening to get together as the leaders came through, obviously having a tangle down there at turns 9 and 10.
And here we are. Here are the black overalled McLaren mechanics getting ready to bring one of their men in. I remind you that Mika Häkkinen is leading the race, that David Coulthard is in 4th place. They are sandwiching the 2 Ferraris of Barrichello and Michael Schumacher as in comes race leader Mika Häkkinen, James Allen.
It's been a fabulous performance by Häkkinen in his last 2 or 3 laps. He's taken 3 seconds out of Michael Schumacher. He needed 31 to rejoin in front of the German. He's got just about that. It's down to the McLaren mechanics now. Can they get these tyres and the fuel in there really in double quick time and get him out in front for another race victory? Schumacher, well, it's pretty nip and tuck. It's going to be very close.
Well, Rubens Barrichello is leading, I can tell you that, on lap 47. There he is, he has gone through. Rubens Barrichello from Sao Paulo, Brazil, leads. Mika Häkkinen exits the pit lane.
I think Häkkinen is ahead. I saw Schumacher go past the window. Häkkinen should have got up to speed. Yes, he has. So Mika Häkkinen then, we believe he is ahead of Michael, showing second at the moment. Of course, it's Barrichello on his 2-stopper that now retakes the lead of this Grand Prix.
Well, if this isn't heightening America's interest in Formula One Grand Prix racing, nothing will, because it's great action at Indianapolis. Lap 49 out of 73. Rubens Barrichello leads Mika Häkkinen by 21 seconds, but of course we're pretty sure the Brazilian has still got to make another stop.
And Barrichello's lead now up to 22 seconds. We know he needs the best part of half a minute, so if he can just keep this kind of pace up, he may just bring himself back into contention, but I still think it'll end up being between Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher for the win.
And Mika Häkkinen has got the loud pedal well and truly welded to the bulkhead. He has now increased his lead over Michael Schumacher in 3rd place to 6 seconds. Louise Goodman.
With Juan Pablo Montoya. Juan Pablo, that was a fabulous race while it lasted. Sadly, though, it didn't last long enough.
No, it's a bit disappointing. You know, we could have got a win here. It would be my second Formula 1 win, and back-to-back here would be brilliant. And you know, it didn't happen, but you know, I'm glad we made a good show for Moore in his last race.
Fabulous move you made on Michael. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was really good fun. You know, I did enjoy it, and I was just going for it completely.
Thanks, Juan Pablo.
In comes Rubens Barrichello, race leader. He led by 22 seconds at the end of the previous lap. Is it enough? Will Häkkinen get through before Rubens Barrichello comes out? I'm trying to do 2 things at the same time. Watch the monitor and watch the track. There is Häkkinen! There is Häkkinen! And Rubens Barrichello is not, I think, going to get out in time. It looks to me, yes! Yes! Mika Häkkinen takes the lead and Michael Schumacher comes through, and he's going to be ahead of Rubens Barrichello too. So the Brazilian with that second fuel stop has gone down from 1st to 3rd. There they are, absolutely together, and he's kept 2nd place.
Yeah, that's important for Barrichello, so now he's got to try and hunt down the McLaren. And I don't see Michael giving him any problems. Michael wants him to finish 2nd in the World Championship and get a clean, absolute clean sweep for Ferrari, 1 and 2 in the drivers, and of course Constructors' Championship as well, which they've already won.
Well, as an Englishman, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Eddie Irvine, still out in the Jaguar, and this is lap 53. Surely he can't stay out much longer.
Barrichello took 3/4 of a second out of Häkkinen's lead on the last lap, so it's down to 5.4 seconds. I can see the Jaguar mechanics in the pit lane, so Eddie Irvine will be the final man this afternoon to make a pit stop, and there it is. So Irvine out of 6th place. We think he's going to drop down at least 2 positions with that, and it'll be nip and tuck between himself and John Alesi, I think, for 7th place when he emerges, assuming he has no problems.
Well, I'm trying to watch the track as I watch Eddie Irvine come in to see for the flash of yellow, which will be Jarno Trulli's. John, there it is. Trulli goes through. Eddie Irvine has lost a point at the present moment. How's the stop going? It's nice and clean. Out he goes, 7.8 seconds. Not a lot of fuel gone in, of course. And there is David Coulthard.
And Heidfeld went through as well, so I think Eddie Irvine will be 7th when he rejoins the racetrack.
Remember what I told you, it's all getting very exciting at Indianapolis. Here is how exciting. Mika Häkkinen leads a rapidly closing Rubens Barrichello. The gap is down to 3.4 seconds, with just 5.4 seconds between Barrichello and Schumacher. Now, Eddie Irvine is about to, look at him, Eddie Irvine diving through on the inside of Nick Heidfeld, and that means to say that Irvine and Jaguar are now in the points, 6th position. Rubinho, as he's called in Brazil, is really pushing. 29 years old, very experienced now. 145 Grand Prix is his tally. He's driven for Jordan, he's driven for Stewart. He got the 2nd best seat in the world with Ferrari. The best seat, of course, is the one that Michael Schumacher has got. And Rubinho, who's had a terrific season, because he's had 5 second places, he's had 5 third places, he's had 2 fifth places. He's only failed to finish 3 times, and he is, when this race started, he was 3 points behind David Coulthard in the World Championship in the battle for 2nd place. And now, on a potential 6 points, he's 4 points ahead of David Coulthard in this race. So if they stay where they are, the 2nd place in the championship will change, and Barrichello will take it as Mika Häkkinen dives through on the inside of the Jordan.
Gap down to 2.2. That was a poor lap for Häkkinen, and it wasn't involving the Jordan either, because it was after the start-finish line, so generally lost a lot of time that time around. Mika Häkkinen.
Bit of debris on the track there as Bernaldi hits it well and truly. It looked like a bit of carbon fibre. Let's hope that a shard has not penetrated one of his tyres.
That carbon fibre looked British Racing Green to me. A piece off a Jaguar, I don't know, but could come into play.
Well, it's Pedro de la Rosa's Jaguar. You were absolutely right, Martin. Jolly well spotted. That's lost a bit of bodywork, which was hit by Bernaldi's arrows.
A sick-sounding red car just went past our window. I think Barrichello's car sounds sick. Doesn't sound like a full complement of 10 Ferrari cylinders, and indeed he was slow. Barrichello, I think, is about to drop out of this Grand Prix.
Drama of dramas. There's going to be a lot of disappointed people here because there are a lot of Ferrari fans. And yes, Martin, you're right. 2 suspicious puffs of smoke from the back. He's driving a terminally sick car, I think. And the Ferrari mechanics looking worriedly at the monitors. Well, they might, as Michael Schumacher closes up now, gaining on his teammate. It looks as though it's going to be a famous victory for Mika Häkkinen, and how richly he deserves it. But what is the... Well, it's getting worse and worse. That smoke is getting thicker and thicker. Let's hope he's not dropping any oil on the circuit on the fast line. But Rubens has clearly had it. Oh, that's it, bang, bang, out goes Rubens Barrichello. Or does he?
Well, he should have. He should have gone in the pit lane with that one. It's pointless with 4 laps to go. It's pointless because it's going to let go and drop its contents all over the racetrack if he's not careful. So Rubens electing through total frustration, I would imagine, not to go in the pit lane. But it's game over, Rubens. You're not going to win this one, and you're not going to be on the podium.
Well, he obviously feels he can keep it going. The Ferrari people can see what's happening on television screens just as you can. And maybe they know from the telemetry that it's not as sick as it looks and sounds to Martin and I. He's still in 2nd place. Mika Häkkinen is now on lap 70, and he's got a commanding lead now of 9 seconds. It's looking more and more like another win for the Flying Finn. It would be his 20th.
Normally, I think Michael would defend him and would not pass him to keep the maximum points for Rubens. But with Coulthard there, who's been sort of menacing all afternoon for Michael Schumacher, all Schumacher can do is try and slow Coulthard down at this point, because Rubens has no defences, and Michael can't really help him. Look, he's going to have to just pass him It's so slow, and look, podium position is about to disappear in the next few 100 metres. Nothing, no point in defending your line. That's not smart, Rubens. Frustration, come on, you've driven brilliantly this afternoon.
And David Coulthard, I just saw a flash of the McLaren getting past there, and unless I'm very much mistaken, and no, I am not very much mistaken, because there is Coulthard in front of Barrichello as the Jordan unlaps himself.
Okay, it looks like it must be some kind of fueling problem, or just one cylinder out. So Barrichello, I mean, actually I'm wrong and he's right, because he may as well carry on. He's 38 seconds ahead of Jarno Trulli and managing to lap within about 5 seconds of the pace, so he may just actually stay in fourth. It's clearly not a mechanical failure down there. It's no, there it is, it's gone.
There he is, out goes Barrichello. His engine's seized up from the look of it. Look at those black rubber marks on the track where everything locked up and the rear wheels ceased to revolve, and Rubino has at least got it off the racing line and is out of the track. And Mika Häkkinen, the flying Finn from Helsinki, is on his last lap. Looking magnificently good for his 20th World Championship win. 10 World Championship points to lift the Finn ahead of Montoya, who has retired to a 5th position in the World Championship. That won't please Mika particularly, but another win when he's had so many problems this year is going to be great for this quite popular Finn, who is now entering turn 13. This is the last corner of the last lap, and Mika Häkkinen takes the checkered flag to win the American Grand Prix. A superlatively good victory.
Mika Häkkinen then celebrated his 33rd birthday on Friday, winning at Indianapolis on a great day for McLaren. We'll be back with interviews and Tony Jardine's analysis. Murray will have the last word. On a beautiful day at Indianapolis, we've enjoyed a great American Grand Prix, massive crowd as well, close to 200,000, and a very impressive drive indeed from Mika Häkkinen.
I'm glad today the performance, and I think I did mention to a lot of people, you know, after the Monza, you know, I'm relieved, I'm happy. I can smile again because I don't have to choose my words, what I'm going to tell the people, what I'm going to do in the future.
The feeling is horrible, I tell you. I mean, it's you know, what can it's very difficult to express what I'm feeling. But at the end of the day, I show that whenever you know, whenever I have the chance to win, I'm going for it.
Really happy. I'm happy for me and for the team, because we struggled so many times. We've been very unlucky and we deserve this kind of result. So today was a good result for us. The car was handling very well during the race, especially in the second stint. So very happy. Thanks to everybody.
I think it's a great result. I didn't overtake anyone and finished third, so very fortunate, of course. Very happy for Mika. He prayed lap before the race, wasn't too sure what was going to happen, and as I said, I was confident that he had a chance of winning from his what was second place on the grid because of the tyre situation.
Are you happy that we put on a good show for the American public here this weekend?
Yeah, I'm in two ways happy. I'm happy for the Americans to be happy to have us here, to enjoy themselves, and it makes us happy at the same time. I mean, we all suffered very badly in Monza all together, so we all together make us happy in a way which is fortunate for all of us.
10 years after making his F1 debut in Phoenix, Mika Häkkinen has won the American Grand Prix, but your man Juan Pablo Montoya, Mark, what a moment he gave us in this race.
Oh, fantastic. For me, he was going to win this race. He was looking strong, the situation with Williams was great, but this is the move. He lined himself up with Schumacher in the slipstream, and unbelievable overtaking manoeuvre. He learnt his trade in America, dived down the inside of him, and that was the end of it. Waved goodbye, nobody could touch him, but a great shame that his engine let go. Absolutely great shame, that lack of reliability once again in the Williams. Montoya having to pull out very soon after that magnificent manoeuvre over Michael Schumacher. Rubens Barrichello, Rubinho ran out of luck as well.
Well, he ran out of luck in Monza, didn't he, unfortunately? He had a short break, he went back to Brazil. His first child, their son, was born, Eduardo, and he's been staying with one of his relatives, his wife's relatives over here, but he was just trying to hang on to this third place, desperate for those points, chucking out oil at the back, which was smearing David Coulthard's visor, probably making this track slippy in front of him. These two former Formula 3 protagonists from the British UK Championship, of course, know each other well, and here's the end of the race for Brazilian Rubens Barrichello. No luck for him, despite all the help of Ferrari and Michael Schumacher.
Okay, thanks to both. Let me just confirm the result for you. Mika Häkkinen, just one more race to go for him, to remind you, before he takes a year out of the game. 10 out of 10. Schumacher second. David Coulthard, a good third place for him. Trulli, 3 points for Jordan. And Eddie Irvine, a couple of points for Eddie in the Jaguar. Well done to him. Nick Heidfeld, the last scorer for Sauber. Just a reminder, a bit later on tonight, highlights at 11:35. That show repeated ITV2 late tomorrow. And we're back with you in a couple of weeks' time from Japan. Full coverage from Suzuka, live and reruns. By the way, all the details and plenty more on the ITV F1 website. Last word to Murray Walker. Murray, thank you for a phenomenal ride. Take us past the checkered flag, could you, Governor?
Well, watch my eyes. I'm a happy, smiling man, because what I wanted above all else, after 52 years of talking about Grand Prix racing, was to go out on a high note and be euphoric about the fact that we'd just seen a great race. We've seen a great race in a great country, and hopefully it will have done something to lift the spirits of America. It certainly lifted mine. It certainly lifted the spirits of Formula One. And Martin, as ever, it was a joy to be working with you.
Thank you, Murray.
So that's it then, folks. That's the last from me. All I can say is that it always has been a pleasure, and I hope you will enjoy Grand Prix racing from now on. Goodbye.
You're the top. You're a new invention. You're the top.
Well, hello and welcome to the Frozen South.
Dimension.
You're the green and gold and the mauve of the old school tie. You're the Brothers Western, you're Harry Preston, you're custard pie.
Go, go, go! Lovely start by Schumacher!
You've got an enormous bump on your head. Can you let them see it?
I don't know whether. There you go.
Right up there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where there's not a gangster.
I'm a frog without a log on which to hop.